and welcome back to another episode of Cooking at Home with Miss K. Today we're making a simple potato soup. First step is putting your hair back. Second step is washing your hands. I've already washed mine, so I'm good to go. The next step is gathering your equipment and ingredients. So you will need 2 cutting boards, a chef's knife, a peeler, measuring spoons, measuring cups, a glass measuring for liquids, and then for your ingredients, you're going to need a ½ pound of bacon, a handful of spinach, salt and pepper to taste, 2 tablespoons of butter, heavy whipping cream, chicken broth to cover your potatoes, all-purpose flour, 1 celery stalk, a half of a large onion, or if it's a small onion like this, you can use the whole thing, 2 cloves of garlic. They will come from the bulb that looks like this. We just need 2 cloves, a 1/4 cup of chopped carrots, and then 4 potatoes. And remember to rinse your vegetables before you chop them. All right, first you are going to begin with peeling your carrots and potatoes. After you finish peeling your carrots, you can start peeling your potatoes. And as you can see, I am peeling everything into this bowl, which will go into my compost. Okay, after you're done peeling your vegetables, you want to rinse them off to get all that dirt off. And then you're ready to chop. So you might notice I'm using the blue chopping board for vegetables, and then I will be using the red one for my bacon. So to begin chopping, you are going to hold your knife correctly. It is going to be pinched between your pointer finger and your thumb. And then you're going to make the claw with your other hand. You are going to chop off the ends and throw them in your compost. And then you are going to make about 1/4 inches cuts, and they're going to be consistent across the whole way. For carrots, same thing. Hold your knife properly between your pointer finger and your thumb. Again, you're going to chop off the ends, and then again you are going to do these thinly and consistently. You want to make consistent cuts so everything cooks evenly. You're done chopping the carrots, you are going to measure out a ½ cup. So you're going to scoop what you chopped in, put them in here, and you can overflow it just a little bit because it's taking up space. As you can see, I did not need my second carrot, so you can set that aside. Now we are going to cube the potatoes. So again, make sure you're holding your knife properly and make sure your hand is clawed when you cut them. All my potatoes are relatively the same size, so you want to try to pick that as well. And so to cube them, you are going to cut them in half first. And then you're going to take one of the halves and cut it in 3rd long ways. And now you are going to turn it horizontally and cut in little cubes. And you're again trying to make the same size all across so it cooks consistently. Do the same with the other half. Cut it in 3rds. Make sure your hand is clawed. Pay attention to what you are doing. And there you go. So the potatoes you do not need to measure because the recipe calls for 4 whole potatoes. Just like we didn't measure the celery because it called for 1 stalk. You can see I'm also still cutting all my vegetables on this blue cutting board. All right, so the potatoes left my cutting board a little bit watery, so I'm going to wipe it off with a clean paper towel. And then I am going to peel the onions. And I just touched the garbage, so I'm going to wash my hands. So remember, if you touch anything else, you need to wash your hands in between. So now for your onion, I like to cut one end off and then peel the skin. You might have to peel a few layers. All right. All right, so this is the hard part. If onions make you cry, some tricks to help you are place the onion in the refrigerator before you chop it, but it's a little too late for that. So the next trick is chew gum while you're chopping. That is supposed to help stop you from tearing up. So as you can see, I left the other end still attached, and I'm making slices horizontally. And now I move it around and I cut vertically, and you will see it'll hopefully come out chopped. You might need to go back and chop a few of these pieces a little bit smaller. Still using our blue cutting board, we are going to now mince the garlic. Your first step is with the flat part of your blade. You are going to carefully smash it down. This will help peel off the skin easier. Again, the skin will go in our compost. When you press down on the garlic, you should be able to hear it crack. Same thing, we are going to cut the ends off. Remember to claw your hand. And there are 2 ways to mince. So the first one, if you happen to have a mincer or a garlic press, you put your piece of garlic or your clove of garlic in the back, and then you press it into the bowl, and you can see it come out. And that is one way to mince your garlic. I showed you the second way how to mince. I just want to reiterate that this is not a clove of garlic. This is the bulb of garlic, and it typically has about 8 cloves in it. This is 1 clove. So now to mince this one, again, you are going to pinch your knife with one hand, and then with the other hand, you are going to lay your palm on the flat surface. And then you're just going to go back and forth, back and forth. And you want to be careful, and you are going to get this as small as possible. So it'll take a few swipe throughs. And remember to carefully clean your blade off so you can chop these pieces again. If you happen to have a jar of minced garlic, then for 2 cloves, you would measure out 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, as you can see, I switched out my blue cutting board with my red cutting board for the bacon because we do not want to cross-contaminate. I also washed my knife and my hands. So when we cut the bacon, we are just going to do some rough chops. You don't want them too small because your bacon is going to shrivel up when it cooks. So the pieces are going to be like maybe half an inch. Oh, and I also used 9 slices, which is half the packet of bacon. So this is a pound of bacon and we only need a half pound. So remember to claw your hand, pinch your knife. So I finished chopping my bacon. You can see the table is getting cleared because we have used all our ingredients and we've cleaned up as we went. That is good practice, so you know that everything has made it into your recipe, and also so you have less work to do at the end. So I'm going to put this away. And then I'm going to show you the pots we're going to use. So this is a Dutch oven. It's pretty heavy and it's very sturdy. That is what we're going to cook our soup in today. If you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use a regular soup pot that looks like this and has a lid. Moved all my ingredients to the stove, and the first thing I'm going to do is light the stove to medium. So now that your pan has heated up a little bit, you are going to put the bacon in, and you are going to cook the bacon until it's golden brown. So as this is cooking, you might have noticed that my stovetop might look different from yours. My stovetop is induction. There is also electric and gas stovetops. So as the bacon is cooking, you want to make sure you are stirring it so none of it sticks to the bottom or burns, and it all cooks evenly. The bottom of my pan is getting darker, looking like I burnt something, but that is normal. I did not burn anything yet, as you can see. It still needs a few more minutes, but it is on its way. The bacon has crisped up, so what you are going to do now is you are going to take it out, but you are going to leave this bacon grease in the bowl. You could also see the bottom of our pan got darker, but again, that is okay. As you remember from our lesson about nutrients, that fat is going to add flavor to our soup. The oil is still hot, so while it's hot, we are going to add our carrots, our celery, and our onions. And then we are going to cook these until they are soft, which will be about 2 minutes. And so you're just going to keep stirring it so nothing sticks to the bottom, and you might scrape up some of that bacon bits at the bottom too. Now that our vegetables are soft, we are going to add our garlic. And then we are going to let this cook for another minute. And again, keep stirring. Remember to scrape your sides. It's starting to smell good. You can really smell the garlic. It's going to be time to throw in the potatoes. So you're going to want to make sure everything is mixed and the potatoes are coated. And then you are going to saute these for 4 to 5 minutes. It's time to add the chicken broth, so we are going to go ahead and measure 2 cups. Remember, since the chicken broth is a liquid, we need to measure it in our liquid measuring glass. So we're going to pour that in there. And then remember to go down to eye level. And it should be right at that 2 cup line. We are going to add our bacon back into our pot. Give everything a good stir. Remember, scrape the sides. You can scrape the bottom so it gets some of those cooked on bits scraped off. And then add chicken broth. As you can see, our potatoes are not fully covered by the broth, so we will need to add more to cover them. I added the chicken broth and you can see it's covering the potatoes, and now I'm going to put the lid on, turn the heat down to simmer, and let these simmer until the potatoes are tender. The next thing you will need is a saucepan. You are going to put the heat on medium, and then you are going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. So as you remember about our lesson about butter, the package is already marked, so you're going to cut 2 tablespoons. Add the 2 tablespoons to the saucepan and let it melt. Quickly, while your butter is melting, you are going to measure 2 tablespoons of flour. So scoop a heaping amount in there, and then use the back of the knife to remove the excess. Remember, you do not want to pack your flour down. After that is measured, you are going to measure a 1/2 cup of your heavy whipping cream. Again, it needs to be in a liquid measuring glass. Get at eye level and make sure the whipping cream meets the line for a 1/2 cup. Butter's melted, you are going to add your flour, and you are going to use a whisk to whisk it. You are going to continue whisking it for 2 minutes. Make sure you get the sides so nothing gets stuck and it all gets coated evenly. You want to continue whisking until there are no lumps, and after the 2 minutes, you are going to pour in a slow, steady stream of the heavy whipping cream while you continue to mix. You are going to continue whisking it until it gets nice and thick. This is called a roux, and it will help thicken the soup consistency. When your roux has thickened up, you are going to set it aside and turn your heat off, and you are going to check your potatoes to see if they're done. To check if you're done, you are going to get a fork and just stick a potato. My potatoes are not done yet because it didn't go in easily. So we're going to cook it a little bit longer. I'm going to check the potatoes again. The lid's a little hot, so I'm going to use a pad to grab it. And then stick a fork to see if the potatoes are done. They're soft, they're coming apart easily. The fork goes right through them. So I'm going to add the spinach. You could put it in just like so, and it's going to wilt down a little bit. I'm going to rip it up, and you just do that with your hands. Just gently rip it up, throw it in. All right, once that's all in, you are going to stir it around so it gets incorporated into your soup. And after that, you are going to use a rubber spatula to add your roux. The roux, again, is going to help thicken your soup. So get that all in there. Scrape the sides. Make sure you get all of it. Once you have all of it in there, you are going to stir it in. And you're going to let it get incorporated into your soup. Let it cook for another few minutes, and then the last step is add salt and pepper to taste. Before adding your salt and pepper with a clean spoon, you're going to get a little bit of it, blow on it, taste it. If it doesn't need salt or pepper, you don't have to add it. I think this needs a little bit. Mix that in. And then with a new clean spoon, you are going to try it again. That's perfect. If you did need to add more salt or pepper, same process, but you would need another clean spoon. Every time you taste it, you'll need to put a new clean spoon in. So you are ready to serve. Get your ladle in a bowl. Pour it in and enjoy. Thank you for watching this episode of Cooking with Miss K. Please join us next week as we cook another tasty treat. Goodbye.